Okay, so Ayushi, let's proceed ahead with your moot court mock, which we are going for HPCL. Here I'm going to provide you one case study. You have to listen to, you have to read that case study and plead that for 5 minutes in the court of honorable justice. So let me bring that particular case to you, and maybe you can provide your points to that. So here we go. So I'll be giving you a minute to read this particular case. So you have to plead your case in a court of Honorable Justice Kumar in favor of your client who is running a bar and restaurant with the name Heavenly Abode in Chandigarh. Your client claims to have been harassed by Chandigarh police for running the bar far beyond the night time limits fixed by appropriate authority, which obviously he denies. Heavenly Abode was forcefully shut down by the police on 10th Feb at around 11:15 p.m. with no magisterial order being produced by the police and justifying its action through exceeding 11 p.m. time limits set by the authorities. As per your client, last beverage order was accepted by the restaurant kitchen was well before the statutory time limit of 11 p.m. And you have to plead now his case before honorable court and justify the logic on behalf of your client, referring to the statutory clause, if any you can quote or you can mention, to justify the running of the business of your client and inappropriate action by the police. So your client also looks forward to get some kind of compensation for the losses he must have incurred due to this inappropriate behavior by the police, and you have to plead his case now. I give you 1 minute and you can put down the things together before we proceed forward. Okay, so Ayushi, are you ready now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah, proceed ahead.
My lords, I appear on behalf of my client, that is the owner of bar and restaurant Heavenly Abode. My lords, my client's case is such that the Chandigarh police has been approaching the bar and the restaurant frequently due to the business which is run due to the business which is run by my client. However, in the current situation, the police has come after 11 p.m. raiding the bar and the restaurant, stating that they have been running the business. They have been running the business after the due permits of the time limit, which is provided under the law. However, they have neglected the point. They have neglected the thing that the last order which was served was prior to 11 p.m., which is absolutely correct. No drinks were served after 11 p.m. And this is merely a part of the moral policing, which these days is done by the police for more or less just troubling my client and several other bar and restaurant people like my client. And they have not produced any kind of magisterial order or court order or any kind of justification for raiding such bar and restaurant. My lords, it is a clear case of infringement of natural justice, and this has clearly led harm, injustice and harm to the goodwill of my client, as it being a reputed restaurant and bar uh, in Chandigarh. And these are the mere tactics to just hamper the goodwill of my client. So I would just request that the respondent should be directed to provide proof stating that the bar services were beyond the 11 p.m., because without any justification and evidence, anything can't be taken on record, and it is also not permissible under law. They can't talk haywire. There has to be some kind of evidence stating that the bars and drinks were served beyond 11 p.m. And moreover, the raid was done on the sitting customers who were available in the restaurant at that time. That also hampers their right to freedom and expression, and it also hampers their reputation. So, my lords, I would just conclude my case by stating that without any prior reason or court order or any substantial proof for that matter, this action has been taken, and it should be restrained, and the respondents should be liable to pay a compensation of 5 lakh rupees to my client for hampering and causing harm to its reputation and goodwill, as it is a well established restaurant and bar since years in the city of Chandigarh.
Okay. So Ayushi, let me tell you the positive and negatives of your pleading the case in the court. So number one, you have fluently, spoken the case and provided the one particular picture in the court on behalf of your client. But what I found lacking in your entire case was like the groundwork and the homework which you must have done before you came to the this particular court and present the case of your client. You should have taken the help of some of, though you said the natural justice and your rights of under the natural justice, maybe you could have even quoted the fundamental rights also, because there is a violation of fundamental rights of doing the running your profession independently, freely, without any kind of infringement from regulatory authorities like police. Maybe you could have mentioned that. And not only there's an infringement of the rights of your client, but also the customers in this particular case. So when you seek some kind of compensation from the court, you should not only bring forward the loss of reputation of your client, loss of the business of your client, and also the part of the clients, the customers who also face some kind of because of the entire raid of the police party on the customer, sitting customer, and having their dinner or something, that also brings into the picture their part also. So customer plus client, these two things should be there. Groundwork you should have done was like, my lordship, I want to bring to your kind consideration some of the information and the data collected on behalf of my client by me. I want to bring to your kind notice that the restaurant where it was heavenly abode was situated, that is the entire sector is restaurant sector. And I want to bring to your kind notice that maybe the reason because of the moral policing, as you said, or personal grudges, or maybe some competition, the complaint by some competitor of my client, police has it looks like police has done this particular raid out of some kind of personal grudge. And no other restaurant which was also operating at that time and kept on operating far beyond the time limits was touched by the police raid party, and they were not at all prepared with any kind of order which in these kind of cases are required. So Ayushi, whenever you plead your case, you should at least reflect that you've done a lot of hard work in these particular cases to get the data and gather the data, and you're pleading this case with the full of your information and the knowledge base. So this kind of cases earlier, what is happening in these kind of cases, and what is the what is the actual rule in these kind of cases? The actual rule is like the kitchen should not have taken the order, and no customer is allowed beyond 11 p.m. It is not the customer should not be in the in the restaurant, but it is like a restaurant will not be open, so no customer can step in the restaurant beyond 11 p.m., and that we have not exceeded. And also the order has not been taken for the liquor or the beverages beyond 11 p.m. So having said these two things, we have violated no rule. So Ayushi, your this particular case that you have not violated the rule, and how you are saying you have not violated the rules, from where you got the data, and under what section now you are seeking the compensation, those things were missing in your entire pleading of the cases, right? The good thing was like, yes, you understood the case, but the lawyer perspective was missing in this entire case. Communication part was good, fluency was good, understanding of the case was good, but that particular legal aspect was missing in your entire case, right? And when you
Yes.
seek 5 lakh compensation, on what ground do you seek that 5 lakh compensation? Do you have some kind of grounds to seek 5, not 7, not 3 lakh? On what basis you are seeking that? So that clear legal acumen, legal aptitude is required in these kind of things.
Yes, sir.
This was the actual case some couple of years which happened actually in Chandigarh, and the person lawyer has taken this very well forward. He has given the reasons why your client should not be harassed, under what section he should not be harassed, under which articles he should not be done this, what on what grounds you can impress the court, or how you can seek the justice for your client. That was actually which was required in this particular case. You got the points now, Ayushi?
Yes, sir. I have one question,
Yes.
that before in the moot court which we are going to have in HPCL selection process, can
Yes.
we carry our barracks? Because whatever the case study may be, certain common laws which we need to refer, because it is humanly impossible to recollect section wise clauses. There might be a rough idea that how things go, but quoting the section number from which act might be a difficult thing at that point, because I don't know.
I strongly believe, Ayushi, that they will be providing you some kind of case study for which you need to remember very basic sections, or like if I say like fundamental rights. Now you need not to refer the fundamental right of the people, because that is very much obvious. So when we say all articles of Constitution of India, they may be more than 400. But when we say fundamental rights, as a lawyer, we are to know what are the fundamental rights and infringement of the fundamental rights. I may not remember that under which fundamental right, under which fundamental right my customer enjoys the freedom to profess, freedom to seek profession and carry out his profession in a free and fair manner. But at least I remember that it is his fundamental rights, and the violation looks like it's a case of violation of his fundamental right. So I don't think you will have time there to refer your sections, but I believe they will give you the sections which will be quite obvious. That is number one. Number two, even if you don't refer to the sections, Ayushi, without mentioning the number of the section, at least you know there exists something of this sort, and it is the infringement on what kind of rights of your client. They just want to see the approach you are taking. Again, I will say they will not check the your memory in this particular case, because they are quite aware of the fact that as a lawyer you are not supposed to remember all the things. You can refer, but as a lawyer you should know what you have to refer and in which direction you have to approach. So here it was the case of like proving in the respectable court that this particular raid looks like not a fair raid against your client. It looks like with malintentions on some particular one, on one pretext or the other. In this case you could have taken it in the direction of maybe some competitor complaining against your client who is well running his restaurant and providing the healthy competition to other restaurant in the vicinity. You could have taken that particular in that particular case. So I believe like your approach and what homework you've done, that was to be seen more in this particular case, because if you know the direction, obviously as a lawyer we can find out the sections. That won't be trouble.
Yes.
Like Ayushi, so that is something which I think was required. Next time what I suggest is, like we have a couple of lawyers here for HPCL, We go for the moot court. We provide two cases here. One who will be taken in on one side, another who will be taken from the other party, and we go for some kind of moot court investigation in that particular direction. So I believe you got some idea about this particular thing, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, more the cases we get, more such kind of real world cases we get, and we plead it forward, we get an idea, okay, how we are to proceed forward in that. So fluency was required little more from your side, Ayushi. It should flow a little bit more as a lawyer you are. So that was required, and yes, some more information about some important articles.
Yes,
So,
sir.
पब्लिक सेक्टर के केस में कुछ टिपिकल काइंड के केसेस है वो लेके आते हैं, वो इन्फ्रिंजमेंट ऑफ द commerce and those kind of things they bring out forward. So I'll come out with that more, right?
Yes, sir.
Anything else you want to ask?
No, sir. Thank you.